Today, I just learned about one of the most bafflingly unhinged criminal cases I've ever read or watched. And it's honestly made me disappointed in all of you for not making me aware of this situation sooner. Shame on you in particular for hoarding this filth to yourself and not letting me into the lunch table to learn about it with you. I'm talking about the wild case of Nicholas Alaverdian, otherwise known as Nicholas Rossi, aka Arthur Knight. This man's got more names than a phone book. He goes by many different gamer tags. I wouldn't be surprised if more aliases come to light and there's shit like Dark Ruler 52XX or something. And his story in this whole situation is an unbelievable, true story of absolute lunacy. Dateline recently ran a piece on the Nicholas Alaverdian situation, trying to untangle all of the wild web of mysteries that have been woven here. It is just vile, evil shit. Nicholas is a degenerate worm of a person, but he's also a goofball goober who came up with the dumbest idea ever when he was confronted with the reality of his crimes that he is accused of committing. He is accused of extremely serious charges. He is accused of raping multiple women in Utah. And he came up with this galaxy brain scheme in order to escape the repercussions. He faked his own death. He must have been inspired by Dino Spumoni from Hey Arnold, when Dino Spumoni faked his own death to increase record sales or whatever. But in this case, it was a lot darker than that. He faked his own death to get away from rape charges, and then he fled the United States. He was recently put back on the radar after he checked himself into a hospital for COVID-related symptoms. Eventually, pieces of this puzzle started falling into place, and authorities were able to connect the dots that, this guy claiming to be Arthur Knight may actually be this wanted fugitive that the US really wants to have extradited. And that's led to about a year-long battle with Nicholas Alaverdian or Arthur Knight or Nicholas Rossi in order to have him face justice for his actions. I'm going to go ahead and play you a quick clip from 5 months ago when a different news organization was covering the basics of the story, just to give you a more concise breakdown than what I just provided.
It was breaking news on 12 News this morning. A Scottish court has ruled that a man who goes by the name Arthur Knight is actually a Rhode Island man who faked his own death and is wanted on rape charges.
Kate, Nicholas Alaverdian, also known as Nicholas Rossi, claimed to have been the victim of mistaken identity and insisted his name was Arthur Knight. A court in Scotland ruled that evidence showed that was not the truth.
The person appearing before me is Nicholas Rossi, the person whose extradition is requested by the United States.
35-year-old Nicholas Alaverdian was arrested last year after checking himself into a Scotland hospital with COVID-19 symptoms.
So it's been this ongoing battle where he is claiming that it's a case of mistaken identity. He is not that guy wanted for rape charges. This is a huge misunderstanding. Everything's all cattywampus. You got it all wrong. That's an innocent man right there. Unironically pulling the old cartoon gag of wearing like glasses and a fake mustache and pretending that you're not the person of interest. Like the ultimate disguise.
In July, Knight was arrested again, and prosecutors matched his fingerprints to Alaverdian's. Friday, prosecutors of the Scottish court revealed they were able to tell he was Alaverdian after matching the tattoos on his arm.
I am ultimately satisfied on the balance of probabilities.
Alaverdian is accused of raping 2 women in Utah and sexually assaulting another in 2008.
I wanted to include that section from the broadcast because I didn't want to leave any wiggle room for some pseudo-intellectuals on Twitter to try and make some brain-dead argument about how the authorities got it wrong. They did do their due diligence in gathering evidence to try and confirm that these are the same person, that Arthur Knight is not real. That is not an innocent man. It is the same man who was wanted for those rape crimes. Like, it is not a case of, well, maybe they just didn't do enough. It's not like they just had one investigator, pounding cheeseburgers and wiping the grease on like some papers of Nicholas Alaverdian, and then he saw that after looking at a picture of Arthur Knight, and he's like, Eureka, it's the same person, they look similar. That wasn't the case. They have the fingerprint evidence, they also match tattoos, they do have a good bit on their side to lend validity to the claim that this is the same person. But if you're still not sold on that, maybe the interview will be enough to get you on the right side of history here. Because they have an interview with Arthur Knight, and it is one of the wackiest clips I've ever seen in a criminal case in all my days. It is gold. It is absolutely fucking extravagant. This is like some thespian A-tier acting.
We were once a normal family, but thanks to the media, our lives have been interrupted. And we'd like privacy, and I would like to go back to being a normal husband. But I can't, because I can't breathe, I can't walk. People say that's an act. Let me try to stand up. Let me try to stand up. Exactly, exactly.
What do you say to someone who believes that you are Nicholas Alaverdian?
I am not, Andrea, I am not Nicholas Alaverdi, and I do not know how to make this clear.
What do you say to people who say these are crocodile tears? He's putting on a show. This is all an act.
Oh,
Andrea,
no,
that's a low blow. That's a right low blow.
If this man isn't up for an Oscar this year, then the entire industry is dead and corrupt. Absolute unreal. That is a passionate performance. He is literally performing for his life right now. Like, this is high stakes. This clip is how I found the story, by the way. I thought what I was watching is James Corden's only entertaining piece of content ever. I thought it was James Corden playing a character. And I was like, wow, James Corden actually did a decent job. Like, this made me giggle a little bit. And I was like, holy shit, wait, this is real. Like, that whole segment where he's like, oh, you think it's fake that I can't breathe and can't walk? Well, then what do you say to this? As he, like, miraculously rises. He's like, well, watch this. Whoa! This whole thing really feels like a sketch from Whitest Kids You Know. The whole interview is unintentional brilliance. Also, hats off to his supporting actress here. She also does an amazing job. So, like, when he's going to stand up, she's like, oh god, no, don't do it, you're gonna die! You're just gonna kill him! Like, he's about to explode from standing up. She's like, no! As he, like, slowly begins his ascent out of the chair to prove a point. Explain this then, science! Ah! It's so good.
What do you say to someone who believes that you are Nicholas Alaverdian?
I am not, Andrea, I am not Nicholas Alaverdi, and I do not know how to make this clear.
This segment is also fantastic, very reminiscent of SpongeBob Rockbottom. I can't understand your accent, except here it's gasps for air. Which, of course, is all part of the act, but I really appreciate that he's not afraid to draw clear inspiration from other art, such as SpongeBob. So I appreciate that. Also, the wambulance pulls up and he starts trying to get some tears out. He's not doing a good job of selling the crying. So if I was to critique his performance here, I would say he needs to work on getting tears out because his eyes are very dry. He doesn't actually get any moisture in there. He doesn't get any of his tear ducts firing, so that falls a little flat with the fake tears, but imagine if he was able to pull that off. This would have been a true combo of acting expertise, and it would have been one of the finest performances we've ever seen.
What do you say to people who say these are crocodile tears? He's putting on a show. This is all an act.
oh,
Andrea,
no,
that's a low blow. That's a right low blow.
What a dynamic duo here. A power couple. The chemistry between them, the synergy, is immaculate. So the interviewer asks, what do you say to people that are saying these are just crocodile tears and you're putting on a show? Without missing a beat, the woman there is like, oh, geez, come on. Have some class. Can't you see this is a broken man we're dealing with? Oh, jeepers. Zoinks, come on now. Where's the professionalism? Really? You're gonna hurt his feelings. And this is the cue to Nicholas to immediately, go fucking hog wild into the fake crying, which he's not great at, but it's complemented by the woman sitting opposite of him to kind of like egg him on and try and be there as like this shoulder to not cry on. So really just a fucking fantastic team they make. What a great pair. Now, unsurprisingly, the great acting here wasn't enough to get him an official pardon or anything, so it's still not looking great for Nicholas Alaverdian at the moment. And here's hoping he will finally face justice for his crimes that he is accused of. This is just an incredibly wacky fucking story, and one that's been like many years in the making. Like, I'm shocked I've never heard anything about it, because this really feels like a pretty high profile case, but maybe I've just been oblivious to it, or it just never really got the mainstream attention, which is just surprising because it is really weird. The whole thing is very weird. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this a little bit after finding the clip and kind of going down the rabbit hole. That's really about it. So yeah.